Our ancestors built the first city as a beacon of peace on Earth. And it almost was. Until one night, an unseen force plucked it from the very face of the Earth and placed it under unfamiliar stars. It was a bountiful world with no sign of civilization. A world we named Paragon. With no way to return home, we adapted. New governments were built from the seeds of our past, and with them grew new ways of life. But the vices of old still festered. Organized crime bled out from the shadows and took root, preying on the foundation of our new home. But this world had one more surprise in store. A mysterious element in the atmosphere that gave a fraction of the population superhuman abilities. Under the leadership of the city's first hero, the Age of Legends had begun. 300 years later, Paragon thrives under the protection of its champions. And yet, the shadows of the past still linger. When darkness rises, it will fall to the next generation of young heroes to defend the first city. Welcome to The First City, the show where, no joke this week, I just want to express that I am so grateful to each and every one of you who has been with us watching from the beginning, and I would like to welcome you here and now to issue number 26. And anyone who knows me would know, and I will let you know right now if you don't, 26 is my very favorite number. I have like a big connection to the number 26, and it feels so right to me that here we are at issue number 26, where all of the threads are converging. I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for watching. I hope you keep watching, and it means a lot to us that you're here. So, I think we've waited long enough previously on The First City. After being teleported to the desert, helping our young teen friends, Shay and Connor, defeat the Gravedigger, you all triumphantly and kind of reluctantly went to the settlement of Stonekeep, interacted and engaged with the rich sort of tapestry of community and purpose that exists there, and formed attachments of your own even in that short time with some of the people there. You then decided, after Silhouette informed you that the circuit boards in your phones that would allow you to communicate with anyone back in the First City need to be replaced. And the only place you could do that to get new circuit boards would be out in this expanse called the Wastes, where a war was once waged, leaving all of these technological ruins of vehicles that have circuit boards just ready for the taking. You all went on a journey to defeat the Sentinel robot, a being left over from this unnamed war. A creature that was so powerful that the scrappers and hunters of Stonekeep have not been able to even get close to it. But you overcame, but not without price, as Jeremy lost his arm.
I fully forgot about that. Oh my god, that was so traumatic, and I didn't even experience it.
In a moment of beautiful, grim symmetry, harmony even, as using his power, his reactionary power that he learned at the First City, at Moonlight Academy, he took the saw blade arm of the Sentinel robot in the same moment that its saw blade arm removed his.
Oh, the equivalent exchange.
But
First rule of alchemy.
as you all wore the robot down, Jeremy eventually scored the killing blow, sending a massive flaming dragon into it, melting its circuitry and melting away its outer carapace just from the inside out. As you all scavenged,
Silhouette gathered the circuit boards that you needed, and you took stock of some of the vehicles that you might want to come back to in the future and salvage. The resulting dust cloud of the killing of this robot saw a strange and familiar interaction, as BB was the only one who noticed that shadow. Once again, the same shadow that you've been interacting with almost since day one returned, only for a fraction of a moment, but BB felt it, felt wrong, couldn't shake it, that coldness. And as you returned to Stonekeep, you found it seemingly destroyed, all of its inhabitants dead. And Veritas revealed to you that it was indeed an illusion, a taste of what destruction he would bring if you would not cooperate to help him make what he considers a better world. The scenery then melted away, revealing your actual location, a cold, metallic room filled with pods, some of them iced over, clearly some sort of cryogenic, and some of them simply containing in some sort of stasis. And you saw people you've been searching for. You saw the true Norman in one of these pods, frozen over. You saw who you recognized to be Kate, or at least presumably a clone of Kate with that familiar circuitry in her mind. Her pod, one of the ones in a sort of sleeping stasis, not cryogenic. You saw a young man who you know to be the teleporter, whose clone tried to bring you here in the first place. And as Veritas told you that there's someone you need to meet, he moved aside the protective plating over the window of a final pod, revealing a younger clone of Dr. Guest. As Veritas turned to you and said, "Are you ready to listen? This is where we will pick back up."
I've never listened to anyone in my whole life. That does actually say that. Sorry.
And we've been on her team to prove it.
Yeah. Sorry, what is the thing that he said to us one more time?
Are you ready to listen?
Are you ready to listen? I think BB just sits back and crosses her arms.
I'm so mad right now. I'm so upset.
It's bad news bears all around. Nothing about this is good. We're so fucked. We're so fucked.
We're not in a good way, you guys.
I would also remind you as well that the people, not counting all the people asleep in pods who are in this room, aside from you and Veritas, you remember that on like next to the door that is currently closed that leads into this chamber, there is the clone of Norman, kind of emaciated and pale with a shaved head, very slack-faced with that strange technology, that circuitry, and sitting in some sort of hovering chair, almost like he's just waiting for some sort of order.
God, okay.
I really want to like break the stasis pods open, but there's not even any guarantee that they're not brainwashed or whatever.
Or what if that's what's keeping them alive?
That's fine.
But by breaking,
it's worth the risk.
Breaking the BB, but kill the BB. I think Heroin just sort of so mad and upset, and tired. Also, they have a huge migraine because they failed their healing check, their last healing check when we were traveling back to Stonekeep. So they'll just look at Malcolm, Veritas, Vitriol, and just say, we've been listening this whole time. Doesn't mean we'll agree with you or go along with you in the end. So yeah, say what you have to fucking say, I guess.
Mm.
I do fear somewhat how you must be perceiving this moment. If you need to see this as a lion's den, I can't change that. I'd like to. But this is it. This is the moment. The last chance to determine if we work together or not. I desperately hope that we do. That you see what must be done. And on the subject of things that you see, I understand how this looks, how it is. These creations and their original hosts are captives, rather. This is inhumane. And it was not my choice. Again, these are the remnants of a plan enacted before my time. See, I've been learning, expediting my humanity and consciousness under Dr. Fine's tutelage and with the help of our not Norman here. Telepathy does come in handy, imparting crucial information to someone. But even Dr. Fine himself was loyal to my predecessor, and as such is loyal to me now. But there is no room for a man like him in a better world. And we will dispose of him when his usefulness comes to an end, which I think it already has. Almost. See, the funny thing about some of these people, Dr. Fine's gift, shall we call it, is partially what has allowed all of this to happen. We've been able to awaken the original host's powers in their clones. But it didn't work on Kate. We've examined her memories in a large detail. And there's so much that she doesn't remember about where she comes from, how her power came into being. And that's something that we should discuss. If you'd like to help. But this thing here, and he steps over to the Dr. Guest clone, baffles me somewhat. Because of Dr. Fine's shared history with our Dr. Guest, he had access to his DNA. And it was Vitriol's hope that we could get a glimpse by awakening this clone's dormant powers, Dr. Guest's powers, that we could see what Dr. Guest once saw, find any clue in those images as to how we could begin searching for the way to Earth. But our experimentation has made it very clear that awakening those memories, it's too much for their minds, degrades them, Can you imagine all of the imagery that exists in Dr. Guest's mind? All of the lines of possibility that he sees? By my estimation, this clone would be killed in an instant. Or almost an instant. Because you see, much like our friend Kate, we were unable to awaken Dr. Guest's powers. Dr. Fine himself is a bit cagey when it comes to the history of the Boundless. They may have excommunicated him, but there are secrets there to be unlocked. I think there might be something special about Dr. Guest's power. Something beyond simple illustrium. So what I propose, considering the method of his growth, he says, indicating to the clone again, this is not a person. He has no capacity for consciousness. He was only developed to a point. His death, while tragic, is the right conclusion because he never should have been created at all. I mean, he's never truly lived anyway, right?
The same could be said of you.
Yet here I am. Dr. Guest has not been so lucky. I have built memories of my own, not my predecessors. I think, therefore I am. I exist, therefore I am, I suppose. But Dr. Guest here has been here. What I propose is, in the absence of the ability to awaken his power, I bring Dr. Fine in here. Awaken his memories as he stares fully at you, his attention on you. So as the memories flood in, our wonderful Norman here can show us what he remembers of you in whatever time he has before his mind gives out. And then we'll know. If you object to this, then we could take the harder route. There is only one person who knows the truth, and that's Dr. Guest himself. Infiltrating Moonlight Academy and acquiring Dr. Guest for a conversation, because I think you know he won't be cooperative. It might be easier with your help. Not impossible, but much more difficult than my preferred method. But either way, I think these things need to be scrubbed from their very sad existence. They didn't have the chance that JJ did, that I do. They shouldn't have to suffer the trials to come, the growing pains of a better world.
You are no thing. Out of every creature here, you are nothing. I pity you, Vitriol. For Constance, JJ, every clone here that had memories forced upon them, they all decided to be their own person, but you had nothing forced upon you. You had everything given to you, and you decided to be a clone, to carry on a dead man's rage and anger and fear. And I tell you this, fear, vitriol, for you are just a dreg of a dead man's sorrow.
What does Jeremy look like as he says this? Because I don't know if we've ever heard Jeremy say something this acerbic and pointed before.
Savage.
Yeah.
You see this gaunt, really haunting, just almost ghoul of a man, just, and his eyes have, he's not using his powers at all as he says it, but you just feel the pure heat of rage and anger. And when he says the last line, then he'll lift up his left arm, and just unconsciously the spectral skeletal hand will just point out and just point at him, and then it'll fade away. He didn't even realize that he had activated it.
Oh my God.
As you point in that brief moment, the light that you cast, it creates a shadow, your shadow, over him. A normal shadow. But you see it cast against the wall, distorted by his own shadow, but it's there. And it moves forward slightly. Behind Veritas, you can't really... It doesn't look like Veritas has seen it. It's only in your line of sight. And all of you do see it. Just that flicker of three-dimensionality. But it doesn't come all the way forward. And all of you, in your minds, hear a voice. But BB, it's familiar to you now. It's not that same empty voice that you've heard from Whistleblower before. It's the voice that you heard this last time. Kind of a softer voice, filled with humanity. But it's somewhat distorted, and you see the shadow flickering, struggling to manifest. It looks like it's trying to pull shadow into itself to become solid. And as the voice comes through, it's sort of cut off, staccato. And you all simply hear, distract. Only moment. Open iron door. And you see the shadow gathering, trying to emerge, but Veritas still hasn't turned around to see it. He's too busy stepping slightly forward towards you.
Are we seated or are we standing?
You're standing. There are no seats in here.
I think BB then steps towards him too and tries to kind of fill his vision as much as possible. Like is like face to face with him and is like, so what is the end game? You know, she starts kind of monologuing, TBH. But she's like, so take Asteria out, you see the future, you see what becomes of us, get us to Earth. What do? Do you think that, are you trying to divinely deliver these powers to an unsuspecting population? Are you trying to just see what happened? Or are you trying to conquer? Or are you just trying to figure out where we came from? So she asks these questions. She kind of just keeps asking questions, some of which are related, some of which are her just kind of pontificating. But I think it's ultimately like, you have this great master plan. It didn't even come from you. Where does it end? Why do you want to follow it? Like Jeremy said.
I have no master plan for Earth. I can admit that I don't know what will happen. I don't know if Illustrium will affect Earth. I don't know how the political climate will converge. I simply don't know. But I know that if those in charge here, those sitting in their offices, polluting, corrupting the underpinning of our society, they will do the same to Earth, and then they will have 2 planets. I've told you all of this before. If you didn't listen then, you won't listen now. It's quite simple. The seeds are already planted, the gears are turning. First City, the citizens, they are turning against that government, and they must do it themselves with no more interference from me. And they will. I simply wish to find that avenue first and protect it until the rotted roots have been raised from not the earth. Paragon.
How are we positioned in relationship to the pods?
I was just
Like
about
if
to
he's
ask.
standing, yeah, if he's standing right in front of me, is his back to all 4 of the pods? Specifically, where's Dr. Guest's pod in relationship to him?
So he is facing the pods. When you were all standing together, you were all looking at the pods. But if you turned and stood in front of him, then the door leading into this room, which by the way is not an iron door, the door is made of the same sort of chromatic silver that the rest of this room is.
Are the pods
Yeah.
made out of iron?
But who has the highest perception here?
Probably me. I have a skill point in it, and I have 4
Okay.
wisdom now. I have
You
4
have 4
wisdom
wisdom,
now,
okay.
by the
I
way.
Hey.
have 5 in wisdom and intelligence. So
So
What?
yeah,
okay.
I've always.
So you guys, I feel like
Don't know your stats at all.
with
Baby's
a
wisdom is Garbo, so no.
you guys both have high enough wisdom that this is within the threshold of something passive for you. BB, you might have seen it,
Yeah.
but you two definitely did. So just to give a clearer picture of the room, right? There's the door that leads out of here.
Yeah.
Which is
And
where Clone Norman
Clone
is.
Norman is positioned in front of that door.
Okay.
Veritas has stepped in front of him, facing you. You have stepped in front of him, so you're now facing the front door that leads into this room, and the pods are behind you. They're opposite the front door. And the pods, the room is circular.
Okay.
So the pods are spaced out a few feet from each other all around.
in a semicircle.
In a semicircle, yes.
And
There is indeed what I wanted to say passively that you guys notice. There is a door in the center of that back wall because the pods are spaced out in such a way, right? But the space between the two that forms kind of the center of that curvature of the wall there, the metal is clearly different. You can see the crease, but it's a tight crease of a door, and there is nothing disrupting the surface of it. It is a dark iron, noticeably darker in color than the chromatic silver of the room. And it looks heavy, and there is no touchpad, there's no number pad, there is nothing on it to disrupt the surface of the metal. There is only an iron turn crank, almost like a ship steering wheel, that would open the door, right in the center of that door.
like in a submarine.
That is the iron door.
So where we know the shadow is trying to manifest, is it directly behind Veritas?
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
Okay.
It's going through Veritas because that is where Jeremy was standing.
Oh.
It is. It looks like it is connect. It's Jeremy's shadow
Okay.
that is trying to manifest. And you
Okay.
see now, a few seconds have passed. It is almost fully solid, and it is emerging, but it looks like it's waiting. You get the feeling of this elasticity, and you all feel it too. There is a weird connection. You felt it before, that tingling in the back of your mind when it first spoke to you at the party. in what feels like perhaps a lifetime ago now. But there's a tether there. You feel a connection to it, a pleading sort of feeling, and you can tell how much it's straining to manifest. It's putting everything it has into what it's trying to do, and it's about to happen. So if you guys are going to do anything else before it does what it's going to do,
in an attempt to just really really put some pressure on him to try to keep him distracted, BB then goes, "But what if I went?" and then raises her hand and points it at Dr. Guest's tube, and then points it at Haremon, and then points it at Jeremy, and then points it at Silhouette, and then puts it to her own head and says, "What if we just take us off the table? What do you do then?" Huh? Because cowboys aren't afraid to die.
I want you on my side. I don't need you. As long as I live, I will try to build this world. And if you're removed from the equation, then your part in it ends and will pass to someone else. If that's your choice.
I think Haremon starts to like wipe away some of the. Is Dr. Guest the only one in cryo?
No, Norman.
I think Haremon starts to wipe away the little cryo frost on Norman's pod.
Yeah.
And is like, that's really interesting phrasing you just said. As long as you live. Just keep that in mind.
It's unfortunate. It really is. But if that's the choice you've made, he looks like he's going to reach for something. And in that moment, you feel that tether snap. The shadow erupts forth from the back wall, out of Jeremy's shadow, and it erupts into a cluster. There are about 5 shadows that burst forth out of Jeremy's shadow, and they are solid, and they tackle Veritas. And you hear him just sort of, and they just dogpile on him. And a couple of them are on the sort of clone Norman as well. But the clone Norman has no orders here. He doesn't really seem to do anything. He just sits there. So most of that effort is on him. And in this fraction of a second, you realize that distraction. You feel it again. This is the moment. Open the iron door. What do you do?
BB Haremo, go! You're the strong ones.
Try my best to open that fucking shit.
BB helps Haremon as best as she can.
Okay.
And if it seems like there's extra force needed, she does like a concussive blast.
So which of you has the higher strength?
Mine is 3, I'm pretty sure.
I think
so.
we're the same. We
Okay.
both have 3.
So we're at that familiar place, right? You can either both roll, and it'll be kind of a group check, or one of you rolls with full advantage.
BB will help Haremon.
Whoa! Shit!
There's 1 6 there, though.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh, 2 6s is good.
Okay. That's
good.
4 out of 3. That's
Hey,
Outstanding
more than-
let's
success.
go.
We're good.
With an outstanding success, the two of you, like a coiled spring, leap, and you grab either side of it. One of you pushes, the other of you pulls it, and you move it with. It's almost like the surge of adrenaline that you feel when in a crisis, and your muscles tense, and all you feel is that cold metal and that purpose. And you get it open very, very quickly. Do you actually open the door?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you push open the door now that you've loosened it, and you throw it open, and inside you see a square room. Every single wall in here is made of that same dark iron. You see along either side of the wall, it is a little rectangular. It's longer going out, stretching out in front of you. Along either side of the wall are these iron, almost like cabinets, but you can see that there is a steam coming off of them, a cold steam, some sort of refrigerators of some kind that are just lining the walls, like honestly like a framing sort of corridor. And on the opposite end of the room, sitting in an iron chair, hooked up to an IV with his blood draining into an IV bag, is someone you don't fully recognize. He has sort of a light tan skin, big brown eyes, very prominent nose, but he looks very gaunt. He looks paler than he should be. He looks drained of blood. And he has patches of dark black curls that are going ashy that just fall around his face, but his expression is just slack. There's not much of a reaction. But as soon as that door opens, and I mean as soon as it opens, and you lay eyes on him, all of you feel a surge of something in your blood. BB, you feel sparks at your fingertips. It's overwhelming. It is pounding. You can feel your pulse here.
Oh no. Oh no.
Jeremy, fire is just licking across where any sweat on your body is igniting and popping and sizzling. All of you almost feel like you are struggling to keep your powers from manifesting, and you have to swallow it down. Haramon, there is a bright, hot tingling on your scalp. All of you feel a little bit of sort of a lightheadedness from the effort. You hear behind you the voice of Veritas go, "No!" And in this instant, that lightheadedness turns to a sensation of falling. But that internal falling sensation that you feel when you feel like you've fallen out of a chair but haven't really. It feels like going under anesthesis. And it
Can we
cannot
take
be
any
so.
action in this moment?
You can try to do one thing, but you feel yourselves going under.
BB says, "We know what this is. Do we end it?" And raises her hand at the dude.
You feel the voice in your mind again. And it's more human than it has ever sounded. And you feel connected to it on a level that you don't understand, on a level that is connected to you via this feeling that you're feeling now of your powers boiling over inside you. All of it feels connected viscerally. And the voice again goes, "It's okay. It's okay. Come to me. It's the only way."
So we're like passing out as BB falls into unconsciousness. I think she turns around and just takes 3 or 4 like
Hot shots.
pot shots and back into where Veritas is.
Okay. You can roll them at a.
Yeah, how do you do disadvantage?
You're going under. It's full disadvantage.
Yeah,
You are
how do you
almost asleep.
how do you
reroll
roll disadvantage?
successes, all successes
Got it. Okay.
once.
I think Caramon, it just instinctively sees that this guy is not healthy. And also we are still, a lot of us are still hurt. I only have 12 hit points. So I think Caramon just lets one last healing burst fly. Like, I don't think they fight that hard to keep their powers contained. So they just, when they're in this room with, they just,
Okay.
and whoever smells it, smells it.
And I'll also say we're passing out, but you also did just say our powers are heightened to an extent that they've never been before.
They are.
So
And I will ask you, how many d12s would you normally roll?
1.
1. Okay. Roll 2.
Okay.
Double however many you would normally roll.
Okay.
I think Jeremy will just say, "It's all up to you, Whistleblower," and then just pass out. He's tired. He's done enough today. He got that dig in against Vitriol. He got his arm cut off. He's done.
Yeah, he got his fucking arm cut off. Jeremy's done his work.
I got a
Alright.
full success with a crit
one more time.
on one of the power dice.
Let's go, Haramo.
Who are you healing?
I'm just. It's like a shotgun blast just out my head.
And it is. It
Um,
genuinely is that. It is a cloud.
So I think the intention was, oh shit, you're not well. So it is like a shotgun blast in the general direction of Taylor. But BB's right there. I assume Silhouette's right there. I assume Jeremy's right there. They didn't really place Jeremy, but it's just like a just like someone took a bag of flour and just bah.
In this moment, because you rolled a full success, even with disadvantage, and your powers are being amplified somewhat, I will allow you to distribute that healing to everyone.
Okay.
BB got 3 out of 5 with both successes on power die and then 1 non-power die.
3. Okay, so he only rolled a 3, so you can hit him with 1 shot.
Fuck yeah. And this is just a d6 then? Or no, would it be
Based on the power die. So
Oh.
what did you get on the power die?
7 and then 1 was 11.
So both of them are successes.
Yeah.
So that's 2d6 each.
Okay.
So it's
Hell
4.
yeah.
So how much dice do I roll?
It's based on the power die.
So I got 1 crit.
You got a crit, so that's 4 for that one.
Okay.
And what's the other one?
a 1?
So that's what. So 5.
So 5.
5d6 total.
I got wait, did you say roll 46 or 2d6?
4.
Oh shit.
Because both were
I
successes.
got max
right?
damage on the first one. On the first 2. Hold up.
So
Okay.
everyone who isn't me, including Pilar, gets 15.
I will
As
say
this-
there isn't a secondary action. Because of
course.
the nature of this moment,
Yeah.
as you're fading out, there is time for just the 1 attack.
Yeah. So this cloud of healing bursts out of Hermone, and I think maybe like covers us for a second. And just like anime through the smoke, this giant fucking blast of light comes
Mhm.
and hits him for 21 damage.
Oh shit.
And you see that it does just tear a hole through his clavicle. And it is a smoking, instantly cauterized, almost see-through hole.
And then
But what
through
you
the
notice
smoke-
is,
yeah.
as well, he is blown backwards because the shadows are gone. And in the moment that you are fading, you notice that his consciousness is fading as well.
And maybe in
harmony
his
with you.
consciousness, since we have this connection, he just hears bang and then blackness.
And you hit the floor. All of you feel like you are falling through space almost. And you see coming up, like the ground is coming up to meet you. At first, it looks like almost like the Earth, almost like a planet, but it's pink and gray. You get closer and it resembles like a brain. And you see the rivulets of, oh, I feel so stupid. What are those called? The
The brain
Wrinkles?
the
squigglies.
creases and the crinkles. Yeah, the wrinkles in the brain. You see
Yeah.
them like avenues all through it. And as they're coming up to meet you and you get closer, the space around the gray matter turns to green. Neurons turn to leaves condensed together, and those pathways, those brain crinkles, become the open spaces, the pathways of an immense hedge maze. And you faceplant into cool grass, taking no damage, not feeling an impact, but feeling rather that you've simply met the ground. The air is cool and smells of fresh leaves. You can see a path leading straight forward, and it diverges into left and right. Up above you is just a lightly cloudy night sky filled with stars and moonlight peeking through. Jeremy, you know this is not a physical place that you're in. But I want to ask you, since this is not a physical place, do you have your arm here?
I think for now he does, because he still hasn't processed that he doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm. When you're looking around, and you still feel a bit of that tether, but you really are not entirely sure where you are. You're welcome to have your own theories about it, but there's this moment, there's just like a soft breeze, a rustling of leaves. And you know, somewhere out there in this immense maze, Veritas is here too. Looking.
Time to beat the fuck out of him in the mindscape.
What in the Psychonauts ass shit is this?
Can a Haramon do what a Karina would do if they were stuck in a hedge maze and climb on top?
Iconic.
Yeah, easy enough.
Never been done before. People would have never thought of that.
I should make you roll to climb leaves.
No, I secretly have cat powers. I can just.
You are a hunter from a jungle
that's
terrain,
true.
which is mad
Climbing-
different from a maze, but
Climbing leaves and shit is my forte.
yeah.
You know what? I do have a fucking skill point in that's gonna
What?
make probably a world of difference. I do have a tracking skill.
Let's
To
go.
find that bitch. Oh yeah, we're good. That's 5 out of 3.
Oh, it kicks in a second. You leap up and barely a couple of it's the walls of the hedge maze are about 10 feet high.
Okay.
So you get up to it and you look around and you don't see an ending to it.
Sick.
It just moves on and on and on. But you do notice as you look, the sky gradients to different colors as it moves far out.
Natural sky colors or unnatural sky colors? Or both? And is it one clear gradient? Like here it's blue or like night and like over there it's sunset? Or is it like here it's night, over there is sunset, to the right it's like day, to the left it's like purple? I don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's more like that.
Okay.
There are multiple areas where it gradients. So far off to the north, I would say it gradients to a sort of light gray sky. I would say that to the south, the stars fade out and it becomes black, pitch black with no moonlight out behind you. Let me consult the notes.
Consult the notes. Okay. How are we going to find 1, a way out, and 2, a vitriol? If I was a vitriol, where would I be?
True. Probably in the center of the maze. Because
don't-
you're selfish.
I think that Vitriol is just another person in the maze. I think whatever or whoever brought us in the maze is in the center of the maze.
Oh.
There is also
So-
a daylight blue sky.
Since we're in this backyard mine palace, BB looks around and then actually looks at Silhouette and is like, "Did any of your things work?
My things?
Your gadgets, your gizmos,
Uh, I
your
have
who's and what's
them.
it's galore."
I don't know where we are. But if this is, more mental space perception stuff,
Well, yeah, look at Jeremy's arm.
I brought with me everything I had.
If you
Wait, everybody check. Can you will into existence stuff?
I will in my good stick. Does it arrive?
does it seem like our never mind, I can't do that.
She can't. You see that you have no control of this environment. You can
Okay.
feel it. You try to will stuff into existence and it doesn't. If your base perception of yourself comes with it, you might notice that it's just already there and has been there the whole time. But that's a character choice. You don't manifest it. It came with you.
Yeah.
What you are now is how you see yourself.
Ooh.
Oh wait,
that changes
that's great. Oh
everything.
shit,
That changes
we
so
can't
much.
gloss over that.
Well, your base sort of perception of yourself. It doesn't have to get super like hardcore metaphorical and metaphysical if you don't want it to.
Oh, it's
But
gonna get hardcore metaphorical and metaphysical.
Okay.
BB is a rattlesnake. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, Hermione definitely is as buff as they usually are,
Mhm.
but all of the scars, I think they're wearing a little bit. They're not wearing what they were wearing. They were not wearing the drip that Jeremy provided. It's more of their relaxing outfit. That like Lara Croft, Indiana Jones, where it's just the tube top and the pants, the high-waisted pants. And so the visible scars that you're able to see are a lot more gnarled and look almost open. There are some that seem like they're going through the active process of healing, but a lot of them are way more intense than they actually are in real life.
I think on BB, like you weirdly, in terms of the actual physical space, she is probably occupying the space that she normally occupies and would interact with everything within that manner. But I think you weirdly see her shifting through like a BB who you haven't known before, who's maybe 15, her at 18, and then her like in between where her and Constance would be in terms of age.
Mhm.
So it's like child, young adult, middle young adult, child, young adult, middle young adult. And it starts to linger more on the middle young adult, the oldest of the three.
Mhm.
But you still see the little girl every once in a while.
Yeah.
For Jeremy, I think that everything is pretty much like how he was when he fell asleep, except his arm kind of is a bit transparent at the point where it was cut off. And like if he looks at it, it gets more translucent. And if he looks away, it gets more opposite of translucent. I don't know the word. And his his facial features, like it's hard to explain, but kind of like it goes between like being clear and Jeremy and kind of having this like dark shadow subtly cast over it.
Wow.
Just
Like smoke? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
sure. But yeah, it's just like that thing that kind of goes in and out almost with his mood.
I'd like to
Yo.
make the point as well that Silhouette looks exactly the same.
Whoa.
Wow. She's the strongest of all of us.
That's massive.
Yep. BB, did you say that you were starting to look around before you were saying that?
Yeah, I think once she sees Hermione get up on the head, she looks up at them and says, like, can you see? And this is keeping her voice down a little bit too. Can you see anything? How far does it go out? And can you see a center? Is this a maze or is this a labyrinth?
Labyrinth.
So it just keeps going.
There are no like gaps or not monoliths, but like
Structures? No, you don't see
signifiers.
structures.
It is just hedge maze.
Yeah,
for
there is
miles.
a place where there is kind of the center of the gradients of all of the different colored skies, where they all seem to converge. And where that happens, there is this strange sort of crackling aurora borealis hovering over that place.
Oh well, I lied. We have to go to the center of the sky.
You realize you can't really see that very well from down below. You can see it up here,
For sure.
but it's not illuminating the space. It's not casting this huge amount of light. It's just a crease of light, of sort of convergence. And BB, as you're starting to look around as well, you clearly hear footsteps, soft footsteps in the grass behind you coming around the corner.
He goes, "Shh," and then raises her handgun at the corner that the person's going to step around.
You raise your gun at that corner, and a figure steps out, sort of breathing heavily, and goes, and then he raises his hands like this in sort of like, don't, it's okay kind of emotion.
Who is it?
You see a young man of about 20. He has tanned skin, long eyelashes, a very prominent, sort of long, wide nose, clean shaven, maybe just a like a faint hint of stubble, and dark black curls that frame his face almost like a Renaissance painting. And he's dressed very simply. I think he's just wearing maybe a white shirt and dark athletic pants and no shoes. He's just running barefoot in the grass. And as you look at him, you can clearly see 2 points of familiarity. Well, actually, I'll say 3, but the third is something you feel, not that you see. The first is that this is the same man that you saw sort of in an emaciated version of. A version of it that I should actually mention as well had that technology embedded in his temples as well, but here he does not. This is that same person as perhaps he's supposed to look. The second point of familiarity is now that you can see his features as they are meant to be viewed, there is a sharp sense of familiarity with the face of the shadow that you've been seeing recently, the not Kate face. But the third point of familiarity is something you don't see but rather feel. It's that tether, that connection again. And while you don't necessarily feel that full power amplification that you did before, it is still there, but you feel a little bit disconnected from your physical body now. So you really just feel like you're used to feeling. That link to this person is there. And it doesn't feel like trust or distrust. It just feels like, I think I'm supposed to know this person. And he looks at all of you with this sad smile. But his eyes, these big brown doe-like eyes, they can't contain that sort of glint.
Davey says, look, you better talk fast because we got some places to be, and I have a feeling that you already know who we are, and we don't know you from Adam.
Well, we do have a lot in common and a lot to talk about, but Veritas is here, and we need to move quickly. I can take you somewhere where I don't think he'll find us. It'll buy us some time just for a little bit, but I brought you here. I think you know that, right? Okay? We can do introductions. I'm happy to do so, but we should do it while we run. I don't know how long we have, and I think you guys made a lot of noise before you fell under. It might only be a matter of time before Dr. Fine intervenes out there in the physical world. So, shall we? Please, Bailey?
Whoa. Vivi doesn't like that. I think a shot goes off into the ground, like right at his feet, but then she follows him. Like it's involuntary. It's like He says her real name, and then she isn't expecting that, and it just she doesn't say anything.
Sorry,
Follows him.
too familiar. Didn't mean, not trying to make anybody uncomfortable.
Let's go.
Great, good. Okay, this way. And he runs around the corner.
Oh,
He takes you down this path. Nothing seems to change. You don't move out of the starry night sort of biome of this area. But there's a point where you turn and there is a point where he looks like he's walking directly into the wall, into the leaves. But you realize there's an optical illusion. And as he steps into it, there's actually a point behind it. There's an opening there. But where you were standing, it just looks like more leaves. So he steps into it and then goes, huh? and then continues around that corner, sort of out of sight. But he pokes his head around like, come on.
full of Homer Simpson into the hedge.
So you step inside and around, and you start to smell cool, fresh water. And you notice that there is a small circular clearing where there is a clear pond. He goes, all right, it's a little bit cold, but we're going, don't worry, it'll be weird, but it'll be okay.
BB looks at everyone.
It is you. Harmon dives in.
BB follows Harriman.
So you all dive in, and it's cool water. It's not shockingly cold. And it does feel real. But there's a moment where as you submerge, you can't really see the bottom. And it shouldn't be this deep. But there's this sensation in your gut, almost like when you're on a roller coaster and you do a loop and you feel like you've been turned upside down. You feel yourselves turning upside down. And you look up about the time where you feel like you're starting to need to take a breath, and you see that there is a morning sun reflecting off of the surface of the pool where it wasn't before. And you can see the outline of first of all, of some fish like salmon, maybe trout, just sort of swimming around just sort of around you. But you can also see a grassy shoreline as well. And he nods to you underwater, still holding his breath. And this guy swims up and breaks the surface of the water and begins to swim toward the shore.
I think we continue after him.
Okay. Okay, taking it in. Yes.
And you look around you, you step up onto a grassy shore with short, well-kept grasses. You see that there is a perimeter around you. First of all, you've stepped out of what appears to be a lake, framed by very pleasant woods. And just down the shore, maybe 20 feet, is a quaint little log cabin. It was made with love and care by hand. Nothing fancy, nothing huge or palatial. Just someone's lake house. And he walks a little bit closer to it, but looks back to you. And he sighs. And he goes, welcome. You can come in. I can make some tea or something. I still think there's a time constraint. There definitely is. And I'm sorry. I'm really, really, really sorry. I've been trying to help you for so long, and I haven't been able to. I should, introductions. Right. Okay. Yeah, I haven't actually talked to anyone in a while. So I'm sorry if I'm a little rusty. I'm Mina. You might know me as Pillar.
And I hate to be insensitive, but are you the original killer?
That's kind of a tricky question. I'm inclined to say no, but I don't really have a solid grasp of that right now. I'll explain everything to the best of my ability. We should be safe here for a while. Would you like to come in?
Sure.
Why not?
You step inside and it's very lightly furnished. There's no like couch or chairs or anything. And you're realizing this place, it really does look like it's been like put together. And as you're stepping up to it as well, some of the closest trees around in the woods seem to have been chopped down. You can see the logs of that. So it looks like this place was kind of built by hand here. And as such, there's not a lot of furniture. There are just sort of carved, simple stools and a table to gather around that's really just like a big rock with a flat top. Puts a little kettle on, starts brewing some tea. He goes, I'm not sure where to start. I want to give you all of the information and I want to do it quickly.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Whose mind are we in right now?
Oh, well, thinking back to Pantheon's teachings, first lesson she ever really taught us was like psychic telepathy stuff, you know? We're not really in anyone's mind. I'm showing you something.
I see.
We're all perceiving it together, but we're not inside anything. I mean, you're all unconscious in a cold room.
And you're showing the same thing to Vitriol Veritas in the hope that he just gets lost in it?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Because we're all connected. You guys and me, we're connected in a different way. But me and him and the clones that he's made, that's how I would begin to answer the am I the original question. The original me died. I mean, really, really died. But I couldn't stop Vitriol from having enough of my DNA. I tried to destroy myself so that he couldn't use me, but I never could have anticipated that he would do what he did. I didn't know that there was going to be cloning involved, so but my power, it's in my blood. Being in proximity to me does amplify people's abilities, but it's being in proximity to my blood. And Vitriol and Dr. Fine, they used my blood to develop a serum. And that is how they've been able to awaken powers in the clones. Just cloning them alone doesn't inherently give them the powers of their original people, but turns out amplifying it, there's something dormant inside that my power can unlock. What I didn't really know was I don't know how to explain it. I don't even fully understand it. There are pieces of me in my blood. Everyone he's injected has retained some fragment, however small, of me. And with all of us that exist, there's kind of a network of me. It forms a connection. And this is that connection that what I'm showing you now. But it didn't really come into being until he cloned Norman. Using my ability to awaken Norman's power in the Norman clone Norman's telepathy, the complexity of his mind tied to his power, that allowed me to awaken on a much more conscious level. You might call him my hub. That's where I've lived, really, here. And I have no control of this. I'm not a telepath. I don't have any control over what this clone of Norman does. I've had to build things by hand here, nudge things into being, work with what's already here. I mean, this is a corner of his mind. And I found I can walk along it to the other pieces of myself. You might have noticed the sky. Kate's clone, the teleporter. Not Dr. Guest, though. It's the weird thing. His power never activated. Kate's didn't either, but my blood is there still. I guess by that logic, I can see where Dr. Guest would be, but it's in darkness. There's really nothing for me there that I can see. Literally that I can see. And Kate, when she was here, they tried to amplify her power, just her, not a clone. They wanted to know. They tried to use Norman to see where she came from, what her connection is. There's a similarity between her and Dr. Guest, they think. Their quest to understand the sort of secrets of Paragon, what's going to bring us back to Earth, they thought she could be a part of that. But that shadow, when she died, the shadow went rogue. I found I could be a part of that. I was a part of that. The piece of me that was in her lived on in that shadow. But the raw animal instinct, her fear, it's still in the driver's seat of that shadow. I can only find brief, fleeting moments of cognizance. And I've tried to help you, Jeremy, and JJ, Detective Asher. I've seen something else. When I touch that shadow, it's not just me and Kate's id in there. There's something else. I don't know what it is. It doesn't feel human, but it's like I can see roads of light stretching out infinitely, fractions, fragments of possibility. For brief moments, I can walk along those possibilities and the shadow will manifest to places I need to be. But when I get there, when I try to help, that fear takes over, that instinct, and I can't hold on. I'm worried I've just made things harder. When you were here, Jeremy, I thought about triggering this plan. See, I think I can only pull this magic trick one time, because now he knows. I've been hiding. If he ever found out that I was here, he would stop. He would kill us. I thought for a minute that if I revealed myself, sprung this trap, when you were here, you could get out. But it was too risky, and instead I piggybacked on Norman's plan. I put something in your mind, an image of these three, hoping you would find them and come back here. Now here we are. This is our chance. See, the connection I have to you, it's not the same as the connection I have to the clones. It's not about my blood or whatever pieces of my mind live dormant within it. Whatever links me to you, I see it, I feel it through the shadow, through those lines of possibility, because every single one of those roads travels through you. I think about what Pantheon told me, what Dr. Guest saw, what Pantheon's team is supposed to do. That could still be all of us. It connects all of us. But he will kill you if you don't help him. I know it. I felt it.
He will try.
Um, so what do you want us to do? You've taken this big risk. You've got us here. What's your plan?
Well, the way I see it, we have to make a stand or you'll never get out of here. You have to fight him, or at least hold him off long enough to get Pantheon here. But I think we can choose the stage. I mean,
Final
Veritas
destination, no
is,
items. Sorry.
Veritas is smart. He'll find the center of the maze sooner or later and wake up. Like I said, I don't control everything here. I just had to nudge it. It's kind of all or nothing. I can't just take us out of it. This ends. The projection stops. We all wake up. But he might get there first. I hope not. We should try to prevent that. But what I'm thinking is, we've got two choices.
We run along the top and we get there faster. Yes, I agree.
Well, just waking up isn't enough. I mean, you need a plan.
Yeah, I was trying to
Sorry, I'm sorry.
bring some levity to the very real possibility that we might die today.
Hey, I mean, I died and I'm doing all right. I mean, I've been better. But
I already nearly died once today. Might as well make it twice.
sorry, I couldn't stop that from happening.
It's fine. Saw blades are hard to stop. Ask me how I know.
I wish I had more time to just get to know you. But maybe someday. I have my own beliefs about what comes next. You might too. Somehow that makes it all worth it. For now, I think our choices are we get to the center first. You're in the room with me. So you're getting amplified just a little bit being in my presence, but that clone of me is drained of blood. But you might have clocked those refrigerated cabinets in that room. Those are vials of my blood, the serum that they're making.
Oh, fuck.
I know it's a little wild, but if you can move quick enough, inject yourself. I can't guarantee that it, I don't know. I don't know what it'll do to your powers, but I know it'll make you stronger for a short amount of time, and that might be the edge you need. So you can go back there, do that, and try to blast your way out, however you want to try to do. I mean, he's not a physical fighter, so you might be able to get out of there. Or we try to find Norman instead of finding the center of the maze. As long as this door is open, the iron door. Iron blocks my power, pure, uninterrupted iron. It blocks it. But if the door is open, some part of Norman's power is awake. That means there's a door somewhere. We can try to find him, connect to him somehow. The real Norman, not the one projecting this. And if we can find him, he can help us. See, he can control this. He's a powerful telepath. We can set the stage and we can fight Vitriol here. But it's risky. He might find the center of the maze before we can find Norman. It's up to you. This is about as far as I've gotten. I know it's not much to go on.
Can his power affect us? Can our powers affect him in this space?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I mean, none of us are telepaths. We're just here. You know, you can manifest your power. You can affect things physically. I mean, I built this house with my hands here. That's why unfortunately, there's no furniture. And you're drinking a very simple tea made of the leaves around here. I'm getting off topic. Sorry,
What would
social
a
skills, rusty.
fight between us here look like?
Well, with Norman's help, anything. I mean, true telepathy, it's based on will. You can manifest your power, the environment. He can give us that. He can make this more than, I mean, it's not a space that we're occupying, but he can make it more than a projection. He can give us the ability to affect it, to truly create a stage. We'll have to do it quick, but I think he's strong enough to do it. And I think your wills are strong enough.
If we get to Norman and we fight Vitriol on our terms in this space, that also means that we quite possibly could awaken Norman Prime in the real world. So if Dr. Fine does get to us, maybe Norman will be awake and can help us in the real world as well. Otherwise, we're just trying to survive in the real world with no help. I mean,
But we could
can't-
have. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
you don't know. We can't rely on Pillar to continue to be able to intervene. We don't know when your influence will run out. But if we awaken Norman, both in here and the real world, I'm not saying we will, but we could try. Then we have help on both sides of the equation.
Waking
don't-
Norman into cryo might be dangerous. I mean, he can't get out himself, so he'll be awake and in extreme cold. If you're talking about trying to wake him up in here so that he wakes up in the real world, quote unquote. It's an option, but I think we'll have to get out there quick enough to get him out of there so he doesn't freeze to death.
I don't see why you and me, Harimo, just with our tracking skills combined, why we can't just find the exit before Vitriol does, and then while he's unconscious, just
So there's all that power out there, and Jeremy, I think I forgot that you see BB go 15-year-old BB for like a little bit too long, and you wouldn't know what that looks like. But then she turns into older BB and looks at Harriman and is like, could we trap Veritas here for long enough to get out, or could we fight him here on our own terms, in our own mindscape, whatever, trap him here for long enough to get out, physically trap him in the real world, and release Norman?
I mean, if finding Norman means that he could control it, so we wake up, but Vitriol doesn't.
Yeah, that's true.
Because we also have to call Pantheon, and we don't have
Right.
a way to do that. Is the room that you're in, is there technology in it? Anything that Silhouette could hack into, use to send out a message?
In my room, well, I don't feel comfortable calling that me necessarily. But sorry, no, not in that room. Though I do think Veritas keeps his own communication device on his person. I mean, he's had to keep in contact with Warden Fell.
Then
So we fight him here and try to wake up before him.
we find Norman. We fight him or trap him here. We see if Norman can wake us up. We scramble to call Pantheon, and we go from there.
Yeah, I
Not.
think that's all we can do.
That's
I'm
a fair
not-
point. I hadn't considered that. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just saying that I'm not too confident about our chances of, because he's still a telepathic dude, and we've only really been in here one time, and that was with Poltergeist and Dr. Mary, and a lot of stuff happened. I like our chances better in just finding the exit and then just stomping the shit out of him while he's asleep. Because
But if we find the exit without finding Norman, all of us will wake up, including him. Finding Norman means that he could potentially wake just the four of us up and not Vitriol. So we can still enact your plan, because Vitriol would still be asleep in the real world, but we would be awake in the real world.
I didn't
Exactly.
realize that.
You're good.
Whoopsie. Yeah.
We were on the
I
same
also do know
page.
that BB put a big old hole in him before we fell asleep. So worst comes to worst, we could just wake up and finish what she started.
Consider also that we may have to. I don't know what Dr. Fine will do if he gets involved. I mean, he's not particularly physical either, but while we're asleep, he could just slit your throat if he realizes something has gone wrong. I mean, yeah, the room's pretty soundproofed, and so is your power, I guess, which is pretty neat. There was a bit of a scuffle. I don't know if he could have heard that or not. The door was closed. But if, enough time goes by and he just gets curious, he is on standby. He doesn't know that we're all here, that you're all not here, but like in the room. He may come down at some point.
Well, let's
That's always a risk.
hurry and find Norman then.
Mm-hmm. And I start to pull all of the information I have about Norman. I start asking Pillar things he might know about Norman's personality, anything that would help me to try to track Norman down within Norman's own mindscape.
Unfortunately, that my connection to Norman is the connection to the clone of Norman, devoid of memory and personality. I've gleaned bits and pieces. Like I said, I piggybacked off of his waking, slight waking, when he planted what he planted in Jeremy's mind. So I've seen the message that he said to you, but briefly.
Was there anything in that message that wasn't just straight up, I'm talking to you? Was there actually any imagery, any I'm trying to remember, like just literally anything, any crumb.
I
that-
can go back to it if you'd like.
Yes.
Read it off to you guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys want to hear Norman's speech again? Just
Speech.
and I'll just
Yeah.
say that like you guys remember
Yeah,
the
yeah,
finer
yeah.
points
Yeah.
of it. It was kind of a
Finer
big
points.
deal. Bare
Yeah.
minimum, I think Jeremy, it's embedded in
Yeah.
Jeremy's mind. Because also, Jeremy, you have a really high intelligence too. So you have a certain amount of passive memory. I think you can call this up in your mind.
God, I
sure.
wish I had passive memory in real life. Fuck.
Yeah, it's just so Harriman's trying to desperately. You can only track something if
Yeah.
you have somewhere to start,
Yeah.
really, or if you come across something to track.
Mhm.
So Harriman's just trying to find anything to grab onto to start that process.
Yeah, and that's brilliant too, because that's what you've done before in a
Yeah.
telepathic situation. You have to find a means of travel.
Yes.
You have to find a connection. So I'll just read it off again. So it's So it was, listen up, man, because I don't know how much time we have. I don't know where we are or who's doing this to us or why, but I know they're sending you back. It's part of their plan. Fuck, I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. My name is Norman. I'm a telepath. There are others here too. I don't know how many. Kids with powers. Ones no one would miss. They've got us on ice. They're studying us, using our powers somehow. But one of them feels different than the others. When they come around, it's like my powers wake up for a short time, and I can sense bits and pieces. The most recent being you. They're looking for some buried memory you have, something they don't want you to see. So I found it first, and I built this vault so they couldn't find it. Locked it behind your memories, right under their noses. I hope. So here it is. Ta-da! I won't hold out hope that this helps you find us. If you're seeing it, their plan is already in motion. But even if all this is a piece of your mind, it's your piece. You seem like a good guy, Jeremy. In another life, we could have been friends. Well, smell you later.
Okay, I heard two things. One, ice, which we already knew, and two, vault, which, like, yes, the literal vault of like hiding this in Jeremy's mind. But is there a potential vault in this hedge maze that he's behind? How much have you actually explored? And how do you know that the center will wake us up? How do we know that the center is not where Norman is?
Well, because I go to the center when I want out of here.
Okay.
Or I guess when I want to stop perceiving this. I really need to emphasize the training that we're not in a physical place. But that's my understanding of it. Yeah. Every time I've ever needed to exit here, that's how I do it. The reason that I haven't traveled too much is because those different skies that you see, you travel over to those areas, or at least I do, and I'm walking the connection between me and the others who have my blood in them. So the more I do that, if those people are in use, I should say, I increase the risk of being detected.
But now there's no risk because
They know I'm here.
we know. Okay, so have you found a Norman one?
No. They messed up, shall I say, when the door was left open before, when I was able to connect to Norman. That was the only time I've ever seen a way to him. And I clocked it because there was kind of a flare sent up in a weird sort of a way. It's like a white flare. So I followed it and I saw a glimpse of what he was doing, and I patched an image of you into the message so that Jeremy would find you.
Jeremy is going to he's going to he hears white flare and he'll just stand up and go outside, and using his powers, he'll recreate a white flare and launch it into the sky and see if he can kind of retrace that like psychic link that they briefly shared when Norman put that in his mind, and see if he can use that to lead him to where Norman is.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool. I would like you to make a willpower check with your power die.
Willpower.
Can I go and help him in some way?
What would you add to the situation?
I how great of a distance could I travel from him and still get back easily? Like how great of could I like jog away for a bit?
Jog away.
Where
You can go
what's
into the
immediate-
woods.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna go into the woods for a while, always making sure that I can keep the camp in sight or the cabin in sight, but go pretty far and just start shooting off rounds in a completely different direction, so that Veritas has no idea what we're doing,
Okay.
or Veritas is not sure where to look. Essentially,
BB, what's your willpower?
2, I believe.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Jeremy, take 2 points of advantage.
Wow.
Wow.
What were the other there was a black sky, there was a night sky,
There was a kind of a blue cloudless sky,
blue
a
cloudless
day.
day. And the fourth.
Going back 2 minutes.
Oh, Ben, no, that did not look good.
3 out of 6.
Hey,
That's average.
Success
Yeah.
on the power.
50%. 50%.
success on the power.
I do have a rank in tracking.
Okay, so there is like a black starry sky with a few gray clouds. That's where you started.
Okay.
There is a sort of daylight clear blue sky. There is a pitch black, just nothing.
That's Dr. Guest.
And somewhere like an offshoot of that, there's a crossover between that pure night sky, where there are just scattered stars poking through that pure darkness right on the border of it.
Okay.
I guess that's probably it. If he like managed to keep him out of his mind.
Well, that's what you saw before. Yeah, before you came in here. So what did you get, Jeremy?
Well, I got a 3 out of 6, but I do have a rank in tracking. Can I?
Yeah, that can come into play.
Ooh. Nope, 3 out of 6.
Yeah.
3 out of 6. So with a middling success, you are firing off these projectiles, and you are trying to will them toward somewhere that you think a door might be. You're trying to travel this connection that you have in your mind to Norman. And as you're looking around, you're realizing that you don't see a different colored sky here necessarily. This is like a different sky. This is just a morning. It's like an early morning sky. And as you fire your flares up, in your heart, you feel that you are trying to aim them somewhere Norman can see. And as you fire the flares up, it's almost like magnetically, they're being pulled to the center of the earth. They are flying upward and then arcing in the air and then slowing and then being pulled down and scattering, evaporating onto the surface of the lake. BB, as you are running through the woods trying to get as far as you can, you hit a point where there is just a brambled wall around the woods, where it seems as though the wood's end and it doesn't hit hedge maze.
Can I try to set it on fire with the bolt, the bramble?
You can try.
I try.
We have to go back.
Do you want me to roll for it?
Yeah, just to see what happens.
Okay. Just a normal attack.
He said that this is a place where Vitriol wouldn't be able to find him. Maybe no one would be able to. Maybe we have to go back.
Three out of four success on the power die.
3 out of 4. Okay. So I think 3 out of 4 successes, I will loop that over and do a bit of an understanding. Because you do try to chip away at pieces of this, and it's not necessarily burning, but you are carving these holes, and beyond it is this strange black void, and you feel a kind of suction beyond it.
Oh no.
And Haramon, are you still with Pillar?
I think I mean, if Pillar did not follow Haramon outside, then no. But Haramon went to go see what the hell they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But they're at pretty much the doorway of the house.
Yeah. So Pillar is out there with you, and he's watching what Jeremy's doing, seeing that arcing. But there's a moment that coincides with what BB is doing, which none of you guys see, where Pillar kind of winces.
Oh. You
Oh.
okay?
Hey, what's BB doing?
I don't know. Let's go find out.
Cut to baby just boom, boom, boom. No, not really.
And you guys run over to where BB is.
She would have, if she saw that it wasn't actually working, she would have stopped eventually and just would have started shooting along the bramble up.
Yeah.
So if Homeboy goes towards it, he hits a wall.
He runs over to you and he goes, oh, well, that's interesting. That hurt me. I think this pocket here, this is the part of me. This is the part of the clone's mind where I just sort of slotted away naturally.
Can you get to the other side?
Yeah, we go back to the pond. We cross through the same way we did before, but it hadn't occurred to me that this is kind of a safer spot because it's my pocket. It's, I've carved this out for myself. I've lived here. I've imprinted on it. Maybe we shouldn't chip away at the boundary.
For sure.
But I don't think what Jeremy's doing is going to work unless we go back.
Got it. All right. Well, go back towards Jeremy.
Who's ready for a swim?
We swim.
Swim.
Here we swim. We swim through.
A swim.
Swim. You gotta swim.
Okay.
Oh no.
I can't get through
Goodbye.
a single episode of that dropping a
Bye
one
bye.
dice. Okay. Disregard the roll I just made. So
Okay.
yeah. It's fine. So you cross through the pond again.
Yes.
So you feel that topsy-turvy, the world turning effect, and you out and head back into that clearing again. And you are back in the maze under the black starry sky.
Second verse, same as the first. Try that plan again.
So go ahead and roll it a second time.
I'm looking at that border in the sky.
Going up to the border in the sky. We're not dead yet, though.
Keyword
Math is
yet.
hard.
Math is really hard.
5 out of 6.
Ooh.
5 out of 6.
That's
Okay.
very bad.
And do you want to add your tracking thing again?
I didn't do that. Oh, 5 out of 6. Fuck
Okay.
me.
Solid. So with 5 out of 6, you're doing the same thing again. You're casting just sort of gouts of flame just straight up.
I'm sending a flare up. I'm doing what you did. Answer.
So as you are casting these flares directly up into the sky, you feel it coming from your hand and from your mind. There's a warmth there. You're thinking about that speech. You're thinking about that one line in particular at the end that he said. You could have been friends. Maybe you still can. And you see that flare arc ever so slightly in the air, straight up, up, up. It disappears into the atmosphere. It becomes a part of the painting of the sky. It becomes a distant sun. And it just hangs there.
Lego.
I don't know if you guys can fly, but I think he's just really high up.
Is it just like above us, or is it off in the distance, like to follow?
It is above you. It's like, it is literally like looking at the sun.
Okay.
But it doesn't hurt your eyes. It's just hanging in the stars. It almost now looks like a painting.
Shit.
So guys, I need a passive baseline for something.
Okay.
You just shot up a bunch of flares in the sky, which prompted a roll on my part, which you can infer what that might have been. But I'm going to ask you guys to make a group stealth check, just to see what the baseline is that I'm rolling against here.
What do we roll on that again?
Generally, that is going to be agility.
Got it.
So I have 4, I believe. So I'm a 2 out of 3. So what is a full success? I'll be
4 out of 3, baby.
2 out of 1, bitch.
Outstanding. Okay, outstanding successes count for 2. So
Let's
1, 2,
go,
3,
gang.
4, 5, 6. Okay. Duly noted. So, for the time being, you don't hear any footsteps or anything. You still feel like you're kind of secure here, but you know you did just cast that big flare. But for the time being, it still is silent around the area where you are.
Did Pillar roll stealth with us?
He didn't, but it doesn't matter because you guys got more. You guys got more than I rolled. So,
But what if we got a lot more?
I mean, I can certainly try. It's not really his big area.
He fails all of them.
1, 2,
We can't
3.
talk about it if he does.
Oh, he got 3 out of 3. So that's
Let's
one
go.
more level of success.
This is a game where degrees of success matter.
Yep.
How the fuck do we get up there?
I mean, I can fly.
Well, you can fly. Oh my god.
Yeah.
But your flying is very big.
Also, you guys can't fly, so.
Right. But maybe it only takes one person.
This is really just a do you want to send me up there alone or not? I mean, I can go full Apollo shuttle and just. Oh, okay. Have fun!
You fly just straight upward.
Fly towards the sun, yeah.
As you fly toward it, you feel this sensation of upward mobility without getting any closer to anything. It's like your state of mind here is that of a physical, literal space that you're trying to fly toward this sun, and you never seem to get any closer to it.
I'm gonna Oh shit, I'm running out of flying time. Jeremy will try and instead reach out towards it and grab it and then turn it like a door handle and try and open a door.
Whoa.
That's amazing. You simply do. As soon as that kicks into your mind, that feeling of this is not space, this is not the traditional avenue. I must walk a different road. And you reach out and simply turn the knob and push open a black door through this space. And you see that green grass backyard again, the same place in your mind, in your perception, your only frame of reference for where Norman would be, the place you've met him before. And you see him standing there looking around like, why am I here? And he looks around and he looks over and he sees you stepping through. He goes, Jeremy?
I wasn't expecting that to work either.
Expecting what to work? What's happening?
Oh, we're here. Like,
Here?
yeah.
Like physically here?
And mentally here. Yeah, so basically, long and short of it, would appreciate your help to create like a kind of battlefield so we could just push Vitriol's shit in. Think you could do that for us?
He stretches his fingers a little bit. And as he does, you see, how do I want to do this? I think he reaches out and he hooks one finger each around that open door. And he just pulls it apart. And you guys all feel just like a folding sensation. You guys just get closer. And now you're all standing in this field. There is no more maze. The sky is just blue. And there is no sun. There's no light source. And there's no house. It's just green grass. And Norman is standing here amongst all of you with his blonde curls and his white outfit. He looks at you guys and he goes, don't know any of you. Are you here too? Like here, out there, here?
Yep.
Pillar goes, hi. And when Norman gets close to him, you see his temples, like there is a visible upside down Y-shaped vein that just pulsates in the center of his forehead. And Norman goes like, ah. Hey, you're the one, right? You're the one who, when you come around, I can. Pillar goes, yeah, no, we don't have a lot of time to address that, but yes, hi, nice to meet you, Pillar, Mina, whatever you want to call me. You got something for us? Wait, hold on. And Pillar looks back to you guys and he goes, what are we doing? Norman goes, Jeremy just said you want a battlefield.
If you could wake us up, but not wake Veritas, Vitriol, whoever you want to call him up, and then we could call for help, or specific, preferably trap Veritas in his own mind and keep him just in dreamland. That would be ideal. But if we must fight him, we will.
You want me to just wake you up, just get you out of this?
Just us, though.
Just you guys, yeah, because he's still out there somewhere. Yeah. Okay. That seems like something I can do. But you're gonna get me out, right?
Yes.
I mean, if you
yes.
No, we're just gonna leave you here. We're just gonna leave.
We want your help, but then we're never gonna ever talk to you again.
Yeah, we just
Of course, we're gonna get you.
we just went through hell just for the fun of it, and we were just gonna go.
Fun gang. Cool. Yeah, I can do that. Oh, I can do that. Okay. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, by the way, guys, knock knock.
Who's there?
Who's there?
And he walks up to you, Jeremy, and he flicks you on the forehead, and all of you just open your eyes back into that room.
Okay. Hermione has like a moment of like jolting awake and then immediately scrambles to hopefully Veritas' still unconscious body.
Veritas is unconscious on the ground. And there is still that hole. The not Norman is still just sitting there, immobile, waiting. And you hear the beginnings of sound of typing on the other side of the door. Someone like tapping.
Is there any way to hit an emergency thing from inside to lock it?
Make an intelligence check.
We
Hermione knows how badly they need this ability to communicate.
1 out of 2.
Okay, 1 out of 2. And then, so you're trying to get the phone.
I'm trying to get the phone.
So roll a dexterity check.
I'll fucking throw it at Silhouette through the door if I have to, because she's the one who should be dealing with it anyways. Okay, that's a full success. 3 out of 3.
Okay.
Could you clarify what you meant by you hear typing?
Yeah, so the sound that you would hear if someone on the other end of a door that is operated via technology or a touchpad was tapping on the other side of the door trying to open.
Like, oh, okay, about to open it. Cool.
So,
So not the iron door, but the other door.
the opposite door. Yeah, the door that actually
Okay.
leads in here. Now, all of these were predicated on speed. BB's intelligence roll, your phone getting rolled, and Dr. Fine's door opening roll. It from highest to lowest in terms of what gets resolved. Hermione, you grab the phone.
I fucking skid that shit towards Silhouette, who's I assume back in the iron room.
And she grabs it.
And is that the only thing I am allowed to do? I'm not gonna do like another action, but like because I know he's coming in, I want to get ready if I can.
Yes, because this was a tense moment, almost like it wasn't a full initiative moment, but it was we're resolving things one at a time. So you got the phone and tossed it over. So I'll give you that secondary action too, because it was a full success for you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so on a full success, you accomplish your goal of getting the phone, passing it over to Silhouette, who grabs it and immediately goes invisible.
God, oh, I love her so much. And then that's all I can just throw the phone.
Because
Jer-
the moment that she goes invisible, do you have a stake in this, Jeremy?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say that Jeremy is just like in the room, looking at the door, ready for whatever comes through it.
I think Hermione's
Okay.
in like a
Phoebe also would
stance.
probably be readying herself because like the ability to look at a door and acknowledge that like there's probably no way to lock it on this side isn't something that requires like a person's whole attention, especially someone who's trained for combat.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, you were looking for a way to emergency lock the door, right? So the way that I was resolving it was everyone is trying to do one action, and in order of their success in doing that action, that will resolve the turn order of people accomplishing their goals, right?
For sure. I'm just saying that going like this as well and aiming at
Yeah.
the door is something
Yeah.
he would also be doing.
Yeah, you can definitely do that. But Jeremy, if you're just using your action to be ready, I also want you to. That's not a power roll. That's just being ready to react. So we can call that agility or dexterity. I'm willing to do either one.
What if it was willpower? Because as we all know, you don't require agility or dexterity to wake up in the morning. You need to pull yourself out of that bed.
That's a good explanation. I'll allow it.
Oh!
It's not a power
Respect.
roll, though.
Respect.
It's just your willpower.
Everyone's body is like primed.
You wouldn't say the ability to get up in the morning is a superpower, because I would say that it requires superhuman strength.
Yeah.
Almost godlike strength.
TLDR, we're all gods of our own
4 out of
lives.
5.
True.
4?
Out of 5, yeah.
4 out of 5. And so that is an equivalent level of success, but you have an overall. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Haramon's thing resolved first. Haramon got what they wanted. BB is still examining the door and realizes that there is probably a way to do it. This is a government facility. Knowing what this place initially was, you could figure out how to do it. But the time that it takes you to examine how you would do that, you get yourself ready, but you can't immediately react before the door opens. And as the door opens, you see standing there a man who is wearing this flowing gray kind of silken shirt with a long white flowing vest over it. It gives the impression of someone medical. His hair is, I think, white and tucked back behind his ears. He has that same strange ageless quality that Dr. Guest has, and that same angular, pale face, but he doesn't look like Dr. Guest otherwise, nor does he have yellow eyes. His eyes are black, straight through and magnified by round gold-rimmed glasses that sit atop the crooked bridge of a very aquiline nose. And this man just stands there as he has opened the door. He cocks his head ever so slightly, and he examines the room. His turn gets used in this moment at the same time as Jeremy's, because you rolled the same, and it's the same degree of success for the two of you as well. So there's nothing that puts one of you over the edge. And because we're not in full initiative, it's not a roll-off. Both of you are going to try to do something at the same time, and they might cancel each other out. We'll have to see. But he is just looking at first, and I need to ask, does any of you have any hit points missing still? Are any of you still wounded?
Me.
I'm healed pretty much.
Even after the 15?
Me?
That's
What?
so many.
I was
Paramount,
down
do
to
you
13
happen
health,
to-
dog.
Do you happen to remember where you are injured?
I got yeeted by the robot. I
You
think
got thrown.
that's where it came from. Oh, I think I also maybe got shot by one of the drones.
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think so.
It was when it grabbed you and pincered you.
Yeah,
Right.
It was the
So
grabbing
maybe you
and
have
the eating.
like
I can't escape. I can't escape the like waist
where
trauma.
you were grabbed with
Yeah.
the clawed pincers.
Yeah.
You have cuts there that still have. It hasn't been that long, but there is dried blood there.
Haramon's pushing through the pain on multiple levels. I think he also sees that Haramon's body is like primed and tense and looking at him with narrowed eyes, almost like that of a big cat, like an apex big cat, like just ready.
Just a big fucking cat.
Yeah.
So he's
Meow.
opened the door and clocked that. And you see that he just cocks his head with his eyes looking directly at where Haramon is cut. and he is going to spring forward with the rest of his turn. And he reaches out and he tries. You're not sure what it is he's doing.
Don't touch my blood.
Wait, but he's getting
just,
full movement and stuff? Like he gets multiple actions?
it's not necessarily multiple actions, it's his secondary action. He is just moving to touch something.
Don't touch my blood. No,
Yeah.
no.
It's not a full grapple, it's not a grab. He opened the door and is continuing to move forward and just touch.
But Jeremy, before I roll anything, Jeremy.
Correct. Jeremy is gonna act at the same time.
Upon seeing that old creepy motherfucker, Jeremy's gonna summon this giant flaming clawed, like draconic clawed hand to grab onto him and then just slam him into the ground.
Ooh, please succeed.
This is a secondary action for him. It's just a touch, but there are no bonuses. It's not an attack. So I didn't roll very high. If this was his primary action, it would be a little harder to avoid.
3 successes with no success on the power die.
Okay, 3 successes, you beat him for sure, because he rolled 2. So you are able to stop him from touching Haramon. How do you do that?
Yeah, dragon hand, just skeletal dragon hand just comes and just picks him up and then bam into the ground.
Okay, all right. So go ahead and roll for the attack like it's an attack. Which I guess you already did in just doing it. So go ahead and roll the damage.
Let's see. Dragon dice don't fail me, you bitch. Oh, not that bad. 9 points of damage.
Yeah, he doesn't avoid it at all. You stop him no matter what, but I had to roll to determine if he takes damage. And he does. How much damage?
9.
9 points of damage. So you char his hand. And you have him sort of grappled by this thing for this moment. Now, you know that as like rounds progress, we would have a situation where you would have to then roll again to maintain the construct. So for the time being, now that this has been initiated, we can do just like a little initiative here, just to see where we're at.
Also, are our powers still affected by pillars?
They are. The door is open, so you guys
Shit.
currently still have double the d6s, or not double the d12s in each power that you normally have.
I keep rolling really bad on initiative
Oh no.
consistently, which is not good because you can't touch my blood, or bad things will happen.
Caramon, what'd you get?
Is that knowledge that we already knew? 7.
That is knowledge that
I don't know
you've
if
been
I
told.
fully knew that.
7?
Or maybe I'd forgotten.
BB?
12.
12. Jeremy? 1.
Oh no.
And Silhouette's.
Oh shit. Fuck. Okay. I forgot that I'm piloting her. 12 as well. Bestie.
Who has the higher agility between the two of you?
I have 3.
Yeah, Silhouette has 4.
Okay. So Silhouette and BB are both at the top here. They can act together. So here's the thing. Since Silhouette has the higher, technically she can act first, but because she's an NPC, I will forego that and let you do it if BB wants to be the one. Or you can incorporate something that you and Silhouette do together. It's up to you guys.
No, I think BB knows exactly what she's gonna do, and she doesn't feel necessarily great about it.
Mhm.
But she runs up to the dude. Where is he on the ground now that he's been hit by Jeremy's thing, or is he still?
He's
standing?
not on the ground now. He didn't get knocked prone. There was nothing to do. That.
Okay. Well, she goes, sorry about this, and then she puts her hands up on either side of his head and does a concussive blast into him,
Oh my god.
Okay, so go ahead and roll.
trying
for
to
it.
knock him
Roll
out.
to
She's
hit.
not trying to do anything lethal. She's trying to just like really knock him out
Might break his eardrums, but that's fine.
into a coma.
Yep. I mean, look what he's doing to these kids. Hello?
No success.
Oh.
He's not hard to hit. He is not a fighter.
So double the power die, not normal die, right?
Yes.
Correct. Double the power.
Okay.
He's not hard to hit. OMG, me too.
Uh-oh, I crit.
Yes. What do we got? You're gonna hit no matter what.
3 out of 3.
So it's a full success
Mhm.
across the board.
With a crit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus
With a
Christ.
crit.
Okay.
Okay, now
I'm fairly certain you're going to let's see what the damage is, but I'm fairly
Okay,
certain
got
that this is gonna do it.
The way that in combat, Hermione and Baby roll the best when they're trying to save each other is so tasty.
we love when the dice do the storytelling. I dropped one dice, so I have to roll another dice. Oh, we got some good rolls. So we got 2 6s for 12, 17, 19, 24, and then 29 points of damage.
29 points of damage
Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
is
BB's rolling high damage
way
today.
more than he even has. You're not trying to. I mean, you could.
No, this is non-lethal. She's
Yeah.
just trying to really like make sure he does not get back up, maybe for a few days.
Okay.
Coma time.
So
I diagnose you with coma.
Exactly.
okay, considering
seen a
that
gun that
a
can cause a
concussive
coma?
blast, you described it like this.
Yeah.
So
Let's go.
The ultimate concussion.
I feel like that could explode someone's brain if you're not careful. But because you
That's
rolled
why
so good,
that's why I'm stating non.
yeah. that no, I know. I'm trying to visualize because normally when you roll the concussive blast, it pushes, but because they're aimed
Yeah.
at each other like this, it would just be pushing in and squishing his brain. It wouldn't be throwing him anywhere. So maybe this is a moment where you're just exercising such incredible control that you're just confident in this moment. You're like, I'm not gonna kill him. I'm not gonna squish his brain. It just rattles him, and you see it just this like of his whole body pulses. His glasses just slide down his nose, clatter and break against the ground.
Can
and
they shatter as they reach the tip of his nose?
and he just falls straight backward and hits his head against the hard floor with his feet in the doorway.
As
Oh
BB
my
shoots, she
God.
goes, "Sorry, no killsies." And then she turns around and moves to where Silhouette is, to kind of block Silhouette, even though she's invisible, but just to kind of guard that area.
It's Silhouette's turn concurrent with yours. Silhouette, you can't see her, but you do hear her. Simply say, Pantheon, we're in the secret facility in the Living Dune. I'm turning on the GPS now. You're clear. Now, please.
Yeah.
Yay!
Next would be Dr. Fine's turn, but he is down for the count.
Thoroughly taken care of.
Hermione, you're standing in this room. You still have a turn's worth of time. The threat is kind of over, but we're still in turn order for a specific reason.
Except it's not.
Because before something, what?
Oh.
Just because there's a moment where something's going to happen at the end of this round. So it's still, you still have like a 6-second turn.
So, okay, do I bind and gag Vitriol? Or do I free Norman?
Gag Vitriol.
Okay, I do that.
1000%.
I bind and gag Vitriol.
Okay.
Emphasis on the gag, so he cannot speak.
Roll an dexterity check. Yeah, dexterity check to see if you can do this very quickly. You're not rolling against anything. He's unconscious.
If I can't get both, I'll take the gag. The gag is more important because that's where his power comes from. Assuming I succeed at all. That's 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3. Okay. So mostly a success. It takes your whole turn. It's not a full success, but you're able to do it.
That's fine.
Yeah. What are you using?
I have like some rope and shit. Or like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe Silhouette can throw me her Hubba Bubba whip. I figured it
Nice.
out.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you've got your own 6-second turn as well.
If I have to, I'll take a piece of my clothing off because it's very flowy, and I'll just tie it around.
No, I believe that you've still you got all these supplies from Stonekeep before you went. I think
True.
you've got rope.
What if we shove jelly beans in his mouth and then put the rope over it?
So he chokes to death.
I think Jeremy will just walk around to like Vitriol's head as Haramon's gagging him and just kind of squat. And I think he'll just like make like just a flaming dagger and just kind of look at where Silhouette was and just hold it over him. Just ready for him to wake up.
Mm-hmm. And in that instant, when you're standing there holding it over, feeling that phantom hand, having seen it again so recently, but now it's gone once more, all of you still in the same condition you were in at the end of this robot fight, rattled, adrenaline pumping in your ears, and your power still sort of throbbing at your fingertips. This thing is burning in your grip. You're looking down at the sky. Before you even know what to think, there is a familiar rush of air past you. All of your hair is blown back, Haramon in particular, because it's like right up on where you are. And you all hear this pop sound of a head, unconscious, smacking against the metal wall. And you see Pantheon, not even in costume, in a sweater with bags under her eyes, holding him by the throat with one hand. In the other hand, holding a familiar device, something that looks like the shackles that you saw at Blackstone Prison that were worn. But there's something else. There's a strange circuitry on it, and almost like a receiver, or maybe something for scrambling. And and it's a collar. And she goes, "Go team." And she smacks the collar into his throat, and you hear it click.
Yes. Yeah.
Yo.
Are we out of initiative now?
You are.
Haramon immediately gets up and scrambles over to Norman's pod and starts looking at. There's a control panel on it, how to open it safely. Like,
Make an intelligence roll.
oh no, my intelligence is not that good, you guys. Ah.
It's okay, neither is mine.
No successes?
No.
Literally 0?
Thank God they're not actually trying to open it. They were just trying to see if they could
True.
figure it out.
So you weren't touching it or anything?
Well, Haramon was touching it, but they weren't like pressing any buttons or anything. They weren't doing anything. They were just trying to figure out if they could figure it out.
Because 0 successes in this context, if you're not actually touching anything, the critical fail of it still is based on the goal. And if the goal was to examine before you start touching it, then failing to that degree means you will never understand this. Like, you have no idea.
This is not my...
Like, that's a button. I'll probably kill him if I press it. I don't know.
The most touching was around the viewing port area, so there wasn't any touching of buttons. I'm stupid, guys. I need help. Silhouette.
She revisibilizes and she runs over and hugs Pantheon.
Aww.
Mom.
BB will go over to Haramon and see if there's anything that they can do to help with their injury. She can do to help with their injury.
With Haramon's injury?
Yeah. I know you're good, but like, you're bleeding still, and there's nothing else really to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Pantheon clocks you doing this. And like the two of you, BB trying to help.
Just wrap it.
Just sort of
here
wrap it
and then
in.
tie it here and then.
The gauze keeps getting wrapped around my fingers. I don't know how. I'm sorry.
She walks over to you and she's still like, she's sort of in business mode. She actually separates another of herself. One is still just holding Veritas in her arms.
Is
And the
another
other
one
Pantheon.
is another one hugging Silhouette? Because that's the sweetest to
Yeah,
separate
I think
yourself.
there's a whole separate one just hugging Silhouette.
God, that's so cute. Holy shit, sorry.
And the other is standing over you guys, just trying to keep a straight face. And she looks like she's trying to figure out what she can even say. She hasn't seen the open door yet.
Fuck, I didn't think about that. Okay. Hermone. I think Hermone reaches that conclusion as well. And Hermone decides in this moment to try to distract her, and it's just also mainly business mode. It's not done yet. And they say we gotta get him out. Norman first. We promised.
Okay. Well, I think we have better people for that. And as she's talking, you see a gold and red blur as Dr. Quickstep rushes into the room. And she doesn't skip a beat. She zooms into the door and then solidifies into herself and just confidently strides over to the pod. She doesn't shoulder you out of the way, but she does sort of like.
And then we're going to do degrees of shock, right? So when she's doing that, which I assume only takes like a second, in that second, Hermone will turn Pantheon's attention to the Dr. Guest one. And doesn't really say anything. They just sort of walk over to it and place their hand on it and look at her.
Well, I think a long conversation is forthcoming. But for the time being, are you all right?
Yeah. Well, technically, yes.
Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy, while that's happening, he's still holding his dagger, and he'll just slowly stand up. And mind you, this is currently what his fit is like. He still has his left arm sticking out of his vest.
Oh.
And he'll just kind of walk past everybody, still holding the dagger, and just look at Vitriol. And then he'll just kind of look back at the rest of the people, and he'll specifically look at Silhouette, and he'll just slowly raise it, just asking without saying anything.
Raise it? Like asking if you can just kill him?
Yeah, just seeing what her response is. And I just want to make it clear that he's not like asking permission. He is purely seeing what her response is. Just like he has 2 insight. He can tell what she's saying without words.
She is staring at him. Daggers in her eyes as sharp as the one in your hand. She's chewing on the inside of her mouth. She reaches up. She doesn't grab your wrist, but she lays her hand on the back of yours. And sort of loops it around and just gently pulls it toward herself. She goes, "We're not done with him yet."
Heads or tails?
Heads or tails?
To who?
What say you, dungeon master, game master, story
Tails.
writer man?
Oh my god.
Jeremy will just extend the blade into Vitriol.
Mm.
Roll intelligence with your power die.
Do I get the extra D12?
Did you close the door?
Close what door?
The iron
BB
door?
I wasn't.
thinking back.
I'm not over there. I was about
BB
to say I'm
would've
going to take.
So the door is still open.
BB would have started to move, like seeing Hermon do that. BB would have started to move to close the door.
Oh, Hermon wasn't going to close the door, but okay.
So BB,
No, well,
there's
if
been
Hermon wants
time,
to
BB.
close-
You could have closed the door if you wanted to. I just need
if
to know
Hermon
for
wants to
right
close the door, it's fine. But just Hermon leading Dr. Quickstep and Pantheon away and
Mhm.
pointing them directly away from the door, I think BB would have figured it out and like
now. Closed it.
closed it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's your regular amount of power die.
To close the door?
Yeah.
I have to use my powers?
No, Jeremy. Power die
for
for
me to
Jeremy.
stab
Oh,
this
yeah,
guy.
sorry.
No, you can just close the door.
I was like, what? Yeah.
The only success is on the power die.
Listen, I don't want to take away from the moment, but Pantheon was right there and is still holding him this whole time.
Oh, Veritas, Vitriol.
Yes.
Yeah.
He is in her arms. That is true. But you try to extend the blade straight out, and you get one success.
Only one success on the power die.
Pantheon, looking you straight in the eye, extends her hand like a 1-inch punch with her palm out, open, into the fire. And you see the fire bisect around her hand and then crackle with electricity that pushes the fire back. And she pushes forward almost effortlessly down the blade. And embers just pop in her palm. And she pushes all the way down to your hand until the blade is nothing. And she just stares at you with no hatred, no anger, just sadness.
Why him? Out of everybody. Why does he get to keep going on?
Because that's what heroes do.
Because not one of us, not 5 of us, not every last one of us with power gets to make that call.
He did. And I'm going to hate him for it. Forever.
BB will come up next to Jeremy and just put one of her hands on his shoulder and won't move.
In the scramble of this moment, there's another blur of motion. As Fortress stands now in the doorway. She looks over the room, and you see her brace against a wave of every emotion in this room.
Oh no.
All of it. And all of you see it almost as if in slow motion reflected everything you're feeling on her face. And you see someone, the image of a true paragon, someone who can carry all of it. She scans the room. She looks at Pantheon, broken apart, almost one to each of you. Definitely one to each of you at this point. And she looks over to Quickstep, who looks back to her, having examined the pods. She says, "We'll need to bring these back. Optometrist will be here soon. Make sure that they bring enough spacious aircraft. I don't think it's safe to open them here. Not when we can't immediately get them to a medical facility. We'll bring these back to the city. Then we'll wake them up. Those of them who are on ice anyway. The others, I'm not sure what we can do with them yet. And I can't figure it out here. Well, I could, but I don't want to."
Don't forget the last one. And Jeremy will point.
To the
Point
closed
to
door.
Pantheon looks over and you see her hand that had taken that fire away. She looks at it, she flexes her fingers, and she looks toward that closed door. And you see the shock of realization hit her. Even though she can't see through it, she knows. She knows what's in there. And as she almost zombie-like begins to walk toward the door, you see a hand on her shoulder from Fortress. And she goes, "I'll go. Tend to your team." And she looks down to to Veritas, still unconscious. And she sighs. "It looks just like I remember." But a part of me still pictures him without all this hatred. I'll remember him that way.
I think Caramel steps forward and puts their hands on the wheel of the door. I don't think he looks the way you remember him. There's also more in here than just him. I'd be happy to stay behind and explain. But if you also want some alone time, I understand.
No. I'm both sorry and glad that you're here. I know it's not him, truly. And on the subject of being sorry that you're here, I think you understand now we don't always get to choose our moment. The fact that it's still training, how short of a time it's been. Destiny has nothing to do with it. Sometimes a moment simply chooses you by happening. I can carry this one. You can carry the next. That much I'm certain of. And as she slowly opens the door and steps inside, We move away. The panels become wider, silent. There is hushed conversation. As the pages turn, we hear none of it, though we know comfort, acceptance where it's possible. Finding Dr. Fine and Veritas. An explanation. Over the next few hours, the conversation continues and ebbs and flows through everything that you've been through. As outside, beyond this strange chamber, outside this door, through a hatch leading up back out into the living dune, you squint into the light and see First City security officers, as well as Tonatress in a sleek black and purple, almost like a carrying vehicle with a wide open hangar and kind of crimped folded wings as the pods are loaded onto this vehicle. Statements, at least preliminary, are taken, but Pantheon shields you from most of it. You're given an opportunity to continue to conceal your identity if you need to, sort of reapply or mask anything that you do to keep these people from knowing and seeing who you are. But as these pods are loaded into the vehicle, the final one is, well, firstly, the ones who are not, squared away in pods. You have the Norman clone, who is, I think, put under anesthesia and put on a bed or a gurney. And the same is true of the Pillar clone. And there's a moment as the Pillar clone is brought out unconscious, where there's still that hint of a tether. You can feel it. That bit of his consciousness that's still there. And in a moment, all of you feel like you can still see that golden thread that tied you all together. The one that you saw in Jeremy's memories. It's still here. In fact, it's always been there. It's wrapped around you and him and Pantheon. But you see something new now. It spreads off and out into the horizon. For one fleeting moment, you see 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 golden roads of light stretching off into forever in both directions. All of these possibilities. And they all converge through you together. And you blink it away. You don't see the roads, but you feel their phantom binding you together still. And as the sun goes down, you all begin to ready yourselves to go home. Or if not home, at least back to the First City. As we fade out, we'll pick up there next time for the season finale of Volume 2.
Yay!
Oh man, you guys.
Yeah.
But is Robin okay?
But is Robin okay?
Where is Robin?
Where is Rob? Okay, I can tell you that.
Hashtag
honestly.
where's
Should
Robin?
we like do a detour before we go back home just to double check that he's fine?
Yeah, I can let you know that he has been knocked out
Oh,
and he is here.
oh,
He's not dead.
Ooh. Good for him.
And you see that they do tend to him.
Yay!
Yay.
He
He's
doesn't
fine.
seem particularly talkative to to the FCS. He wants to get out of there as soon as possible, and because they have no jurisdiction here, they
Yeah.
can't do anything. He just like
He just bounces.
hangs around. Yeah, and if you guys want to have any interactions, right? If when we come back next time you want to pick up like before you get on the aircraft, we can do that. It's up to you
Sounds
guys, and we have a
good.
week to decide.
I just wanted to know if it was okay. Also,
Yeah.
be like, tell
Yeah.
everyone that we're okay. Who like talk to us and Stone Keep. Okay, bye.
We'll sort all of that out, but for now, know that yes, he is okay.
Yay!
Thank God.
Woo, guys, season finale. It's been a ride that I have loved, and it feels good to get to this point where the threads converge. I've had a great time every minute of it with you guys, and the roads shall continue.
Woo.
Keep it super, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye bye.